What do people think is healthy but really isn't? Story 1. Dedicating your entire life to your work without an outlet separate from it. Same goes with overbearing relationships. You will begin to resent whatever you enjoy if it's the sole reason for your existence. 100%. I work in a corporate office setting, and it's sad how many of my peers think working 10 to 12-hour days is something to brag about. First off, the company doesn't care about me enough to warrant working that many hours. Second, we're not here saving lives, so it benefits nobody except the higher-ups. 2 my 8 hours and bounce the frick out. You ain't catching me working that many hours just to get a few brownie points here and there. Even then, it's not like they're getting much extra work done. After my 8 hours are up, I can maybe keep going at like 20% of the speed I'd normally be able to work at. So an extra 2 hours of work might get me half an hour caught up, if that makes sense. I have a coworker who works 12-hour days regularly, but she's overstressed and her work is always riddled with mistakes. She works hard, but she never works smart. It's a shame because she really thinks it's gonna move her up the company, when the company doesn't give a poop about us. People like that remind me when some high schoolers get a job and that's all they can talk about because they're earning money, or they're just a brown-noser. Working yourself into the ground and never taking any time for yourself is something I'll never understand nor condone. You have to take care of yourself first, and if you have time for extra work and can do it good, that's awesome. Just never stress over it and do it halfway. Story 2. Cable news. People who watch it think they're better informed by watching 6 hours of news a day, when they're really just buying into the fear, anger, outrage cycle, which just feeds back into watching more of the same. That is, since I keep seeing the same replies over and over, a few responses. I don't have a national source I can definitely recommend for news. Some local stations can be good, but many of them are actually owned by a large media group at this point and can't be trusted blindly either. I've seen more replies than I care to admit, which are, yeah, this bias thing is terrible, this other bias thing is what you should trust. I wish I had time to point out that problem to each person, but sadly too many people are doing that to do so individually. Please folks, use multiple sources which don't rely on each other. If there's others, I'll add more later. I get all my news from internet commenters who didn't read the article. This is the way. Yeah, people really need to stop taking their preferred news source as the word of God. They gotta understand most cable news and even just news online isn't looking out for your best interest and really doesn't even care about getting any facts right. Story 3. Granola bars. The one I was eating had the nutritional value of a Snickers. Granola bars were always meant to be a portable, non-perishable, and high-energy snack, which is automatically going to have carbs and sugar. Reminds me of the breakfast cookie stuff people make, and then somehow decide it is healthy because it's not bacon or chocolate. Edit. On the topic of advertising, very few brands actually advertise as health food. They advertise to active people, and I think the effect of seeing healthy people in the advertisements is part of what gives the false sense of nutritional value. It's gotta be a mix of that and seeing those diet bars that just have people's brains going all crazy thinking they must be healthy. Story 4. Forgiving a family member simply because they're family. Sometimes people do horrible things to others, and you're better off without them in your life, regardless of relation. Edit. A lot of people have brought up a great distinction that I neglected. The old adage, forgive but don't forget. By all means, forgive the person. That does not equate to letting them back into your life. And the reason people say to forgive is for your own health and well-being, not because of the person who wronged you. Forgiveness does not mean you've swept it under the rug. My sister and mother both expect me to forgive my sister for abusing me physically and emotionally because we are sisters. But she has yet to even admit that she did wrong, or utter a single syllable of an apology. Just because you grew up with them doesn't mean they can treat you like trash and all is forgiven. I do however think that if they are grown up enough to apologize and make up for what they did, it's much easier to let them back in if they're a family, because deep down we love our family. Story 5. Declawing cats. It's literally an amputation at the first knuckle. Painful as frick. Healthy alternatives. Regular trimming and scratching posts. Not gonna lie, I used to tell myself if I ever got a cat, I'd declaw them right away. I hate the scratches, the damage to furniture, etc. Then I heard how it's done. Now I just decided I'll never get a cat. I can't do that to an animal for selfish reasons. If I can't deal with the potential consequences, then I'm not fit for one. There are plenty of cats sitting in shelters that have already been declawed by their past owners and could use a home. That's actually a great idea. I really hope this person looked into that. Story 6. I think a lot of millennials and Gen Zers are beginning to catch on to how bad it can potentially be, but I think dedicating your life just to work is really unhealthy. I mean, fair enough if you have a job you really enjoy, but even so, if you dedicate almost every waking moment to your job, there's a problem. Generally, it's not a great attitude. Live to work. I can't stress this enough. I had a job like this where I was working 70 to 80 hours a week as a salaried employee. Cuts continued to happen and the responsibility continued to pile on. I was out of shape and probably would have died young if I continued working there. I made a change and my stress levels have decreased significantly. I'm eating right and I'm getting enough sleep. So glad you got out of there and were able to improve yourself and your health. I hope more people in your situation can follow your lead. Story 7. Vitamin water. It's stacked with ridiculous levels of sugar and no vitamins. I love that in a lawsuit against them for just this reason, their argument was something along the lines of, no reasonable person would think vitamin water is a health beverage. Sure. Coca-Cola argued in its defense that no reasonable person could be misled into thinking vitamin water was a healthy drink, despite label names such as Defense, Revive, and Endurance for its different flavors of water. Last year, a federal judge rejected this defense, but the outcome of the suit is still pending. God, I hope Coca-Cola goes down. Big companies like them really deserve to be humbled. Story 8. The vast majority of salads at restaurants. A handful of lettuce buried beneath fried chicken, cheese, and ranch dressing. Don't come to Cobb salads like that. I fully agree with you, but I get grilled chicken salads because I like them. I'm a fat guy, so when I get one at a fast food place, they probably think I'm trying to be healthy. Some days I just feel like eating something cool instead of hot food, and I love grilled chicken. Sometimes I get a vegetable-only salad, but if it was for health reasons, I'm sure I have defeated the point with ranch and blue cheese dressing. Fast food places definitely just make salads an option just so people think they're being healthy. Story 9. Getting into a relationship to save, help, fix, or mend someone. A lesson that people hopefully learn young. TV and movies show some messed up relationships that seem normal when you are inexperienced at dating. I see the Buffy and Angel relationship very differently as an adult compared to as a teen. At it, the age/experience gap is a big one, but he also turned evil after they had spicy time, and then stalked and psychologically tortured her. Try telling someone young and in love that the person is bad news. They won't listen, but after the breakup, they would hopefully learn how to spot an a-hole or cheater. Couldn't give me a too long didn't read? I haven't watched a show and I'm not planning on starting. Someone that young won't listen to most things unless a peer tells them or something. It's all part of growing up. Sadly, some just have it harder than others to accept that kind of information, but in the end it works out. Story 10. Those stupid juicing detox programs. Your body's liver and kidneys naturally detox your body so long as you drink plenty of water. This whole notion that you are detoxing your body with juice is asinine. There's something about sitting on the toilet for the whole weekend that's really appealing to some people though. Heck, have a hard night of whiskey and stouts and you'll clean everything out on the toilet the next day. Whiskey poops are the best cleanse. Story 11. Smoothies from smoothie shops. They use sorbets, ice creams, and juices with an insane amount of sugar in them. My sister worked at a smoothie shop and people would always come in after going to the gym. It's not what most people think it is. The place I work at actually doesn't make them with anything more than frozen fruit and coconut milk. The prices are horrendous though. I find myself craving smoothies after the gym as my body is desperate for a sugary cold drink, and I remind myself that I'm a chubby penguin and move on. I've been saying for years, smoothies from those kinds of places are really just fruit milkshakes. Story 12. It's not really fair to say things are healthy versus unhealthy. A burger is a nutritious food. You have carbs, fat, and protein. But if you're eating burgers all the time, you have a problem. People like to answer these sorts of questions by saying yogurt, with the implication that it's marketed as healthy, but actually junk. It's not the case. For example, you can eat those 80 to 100 calorie cups of yogurt that have 8 to 9 grams of sugar, 10 to 15 grams of protein. I'll usually have one of these a day. Or you can eat one with 200 calories and 30 grams of sugar and almost no protein and have them all the time. There's a difference. Smoothies are often seen as healthy too, but you can easily cram 1,000 plus calories into a smoothie and it feel like a light snack. That's why people really just need to read labels and not just buy something because it looks healthy to them. Story 13. Lady part washes on a daily basis so it smells like lavender instead of what they're supposed to smell like. It's unnecessary and changes your pH down there, and predisposes you to infections. Vagisil is terrible. I got a yeast infection from using it. Years ago when my doctor found out my mom and I were using it, he recommended that we stop and only use unscented bar soap. But even then, you don't need to go to town with it as long as you're clean. Some people get crazy with their downstairs area and wash the heck out of it. I get wanting to be clean and down there is easier to get dirty, but don't ruin yourself just trying to wash up. Story 14. Activated charcoal. It's amazing if you've been poisoned, but it absorbs good nutritions and medications as well. I'm getting so sick of seeing it in everything. A few weeks ago, the lady who runs my group therapy for suicidal people provided charcoal biscuits as snacks. Needless to say, not a single one was touched and many people were triggered. That's really bad since many of those people must be on meds. The charcoal would negate them. I didn't even think about that. I'm glad no one touched them. Story 15. Shielding their children from every conceivable horror in the real world until they're 18 and naive as frick. Straight up let your kids get scraped knees and watch an R-rated movie every once in a while. This was my wife. Parents shielded her from everything. Needless to say, she went a lot crazy when she got to college. If you don't let your kid be a kid when they're a kid, they're gonna be a kid as an adult. Story 16. Absolutely anything Gwyneth Paltrow likes. I don't understand how that company is allowed to make the claims or sell the products they do. LMAO. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on the jade eggs and the woman part. Jade eggs in the what now? Story 17. The food pyramid that was popularized by the USDA is a terrible idea. A lot of people today have realized this, but many older folks still see it as the Bible of good eating, and they are very fat. The fact that it's a pyramid, not a triangle, means there's two secret sides. Oh, it's the forbidden fruit and Dippin' Dots for sure. Story 18. Low fat, 100% fat free. Where I live, the supermarket has pre-sliced garlic that is labeled as fat free and gluten free. No kidding, it's garlic. You laugh and say no kidding, but there is a reason it's labeled, and that is most likely because quite a few people asked. That just makes me feel sad inside. Story 19. Getting lemonade or some other juice rather than soda at a restaurant. or even having it at home. I started to drink more apple juice and soda at home, and I quickly noticed that there's way too much sugar in there. I usually add water. Tastes a lot better. I usually just drink water. That stuff slaps. Story 20. The stupid cleanses. Your body naturally gets rid of toxins and stuff. You just need to drink water. If you need to clean anything, it's your liver. Give it 6 weeks without alcohol or drugs. It'll thank you for it. That's hard. Can I just have a yucky tea once? To me, all tea is yucky. Story 21. Bottling up their emotions so others don't have to hear it. For most people, emotions are like farts. You may struggle to find a good time and place to let them out, but if you never let them out, you'll explode. Randomly breaking down crying in the shower counts as emotional release, right? Well, gee, I hope so. That's my main outlet. Story 22. Anything Dr. Oz tries to sell you. P.S. Yes, and fricking raspberries too. Wow, thanks for the gold. But Dr. Oz said, every grandma. Nothing, you idiots. Dr. Oz is dead. He's locked in my basement. If the news talks about Dr. Oz disappearing now, we all know what happened. Story 23. I was a manager of a Jamba Juice for a year or so, and people used to come in because they thought it was healthy. But the most commonly ordered smoothie by this crowd, apples and greens. The small size has 44 grams of sugar. Most of the smoothies are packed in sugar. The greens part is definitely what's drawing people in thinking it's healthy. Story 24. Fat-free food. Yeah, to make up for the loss of fat, they pump it full of sugars. Besides that, your body needs fats. Fats aren't some evil, bad, chunky boys. Our body relies on them. As long as you don't receive too much of it, and it's mostly unsaturated fats, you're good. Like they say, everything in moderation. Story 25. Gatorade. Not a healthy alternative to soda. Drink water. But it has what plants crave. Water? You mean like what's in the toilet? Yes. Drink it straight from the toilet to get it in its purest form. Story 26. Fat-free doesn't mean miracle weight loss. Panera Bread granola bars fat-free usually means poop load of added sugars. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more videos to come, or else this spider will be in your bed tonight.